Well, thanks for coming on the pod.
No problem.
Yeah, so we can definitely jump right into it.
Okay.
Normally we would ask the round table of everyone to introduce themselves and the role they
Oh,
play, but if you'd like to introduce yourself and what you
okay.
do within the band.
I'm Lauren and I am the singer for Dramascream.
And if you don't mind sharing the origin story and kind of where you got the band name from.
The band name. Yeah, it was originally Steve and I and two other people. And we tried everything. We tried those band name generators. Terrible. We were at our like wits end because everything we thought of was either too heavy, like like really heavy sounding, and we're like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. And it was took, and then I think Steve or somebody was like, oh yeah, well, because you're such a drama queen, and then like somehow I don't know, we don't really, I don't remember who said drama scream, but we were like, okay, drama, and then we said like drama scream, and I'm like, that's kind of cool, and we were like, okay, it's really not that cool, but yeah, that's how we came up with the name.
I think I did one of those generators once, way back in the day, though. Like, I was trying to think of what would I name my band if I ever had a band, which I never had a band, but
Yeah, we were trying to like put words we'd like together or like synonyms for other words, and it just wasn't working in the syllables and the so I don't even remember who ended up saying drop. I think we just kept writing things, right? So we just kept writing it and then looking at how it would look. And then we named it Drama Scream, and then about a year or two in, and I was like, do we even really like the name? And we're just like, well, we're stuck with it, so we just kept it, and now we do like it. So
it's a different name.
yeah,
Never would have thought you put drama and scream together.
yeah. And I mean, I guess I am a drama queen. Not really. I'm just like a very I talk with my hands a lot, and I'm very animated. So I guess they named the band after me.
Now, if you had to describe Drama Scream's sound to a random grandma on the street, a random grandma on the
Oh.
street, how would you describe that?
Um. Okay. So if it's someone if older, I like try to figure out how much older they are. So like I usually start with like a baseline of like, do you know? Well, my first go to I guess is always like, do you know Hailstorm in this moment? And if they don't, then I say like, okay, do you know? God, sometimes I just have to go for like Iron Maiden and be like, okay, so Iron Maiden's like melodic, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, you know how Slayer like screams, and they're like, yeah, so like I don't think we're like them, but I don't know how to explain us. I usually say a slight like there's Hailstorm and there's In This Moment, and we're like we fit in between them is usually what I tell people. Um, I would say we're heavy enough to play with heavy bands, but we're also not so heavy that we can't play with bands that are, like rock. That's my opinion, though. So I could also be wrong.
And you guys played with Conquer Divide before, right?
In 10 years, yeah.
Oh, dang. So I probably came to that show too late.
Yes, so it was like us, a band, Conquer Divide, 10 years.
Yeah, I think I must have came in right as you guys were getting off stage for that one.
Probably, yep.
We had Izzy on from Conquer Divide before. And
Okay.
that was actually the first time I went to the song and dance.
Oh, okay.
Was for that show.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Izzy was a good guest. She was fun. And then I saw them twice in August because they played Wisconsin twice somehow. So I was
Oh,
like, "Ooh, I'm
really?
just gonna go see them twice."
Yeah, that's always good.
yeah,
But
we're in completely different states. We've never met each other in person.
Oh,
Um,
that's kind of cool, though.
MySpace friends from 2004.
Wow.
I
That's
know we're elder emos.
That's okay. That's like I feel like that our fan base is like elder emos and below. Like that's our main demographic, I want to say.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'd have to like look at our analytics and see who our main demographic is. I haven't looked at it in a while.
I think
We
we're in the
always
30s. Like the YouTube analytics, I think we're usually in the 30s.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I highly doubt I'd be having like 60, 70-year-olds on this
right.
podcast, but you never know
Yeah. Yeah.
watching this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah,
this
ours is the like similar. Ours is like 24 to 30 something. Like our for whatever analytics we look at.
Now this past weekend when you played Syracuse, did you guys have family come up?
No.
No?
It was so like we didn't have anybody come out like except for some people from Binghamton. It was so hard. Like it's been so cold and people are like the weather, my life and so just friends and stuff came out. My mom normally comes out, but she like what is my okay. My mom normally comes out, but she wasn't able to. And my dad is very he's a very much of a dad. He doesn't get the screaming, so he supports me, but he doesn't get it. Where my mom is like, that was so good. So yeah.
I would think that would have been a different way around. Like my dad would be the one that would support me probably and be like, "That's awesome." And my mom would be like, "What is this?"
When I first started, my mom didn't understand screaming, and my dad just was like, "You don't have to do that." So like my dad is very much not into the screaming stuff, but he'll still like come out. But my mom eventually, I remember one show she was like, "Oh, I get it. Like when you scream though," she was, "But it sounds good." I'm like, "That's the point, mom. Like you." And so eventually she just kind of got it, and now she actually likes, comes out to our shows and stuff. It's not her
That's all.
favorite thing when I scream, right? But she's a big
She's come
supporter.
around. She's come
Yeah,
around.
yeah, she's a big supporter of artistically. So like my dad was big into like sports and my mom was more like I danced and I was like into competitive dance my whole life and my mom was huge into that. So she's always supported my artistic side.
That's awesome. Jess, I know your mom just watches and listens for me, right?
Yep, she loves you, Chris. She loves you.
Aw.
She's never met you either, so how can she not, right? No, it's kidding. So I'm
It's
just
fun.
wondering, oh, you want to say something
Oh,
else?
I was gonna say it's funny you mentioned the weather, especially this past show this weekend. I was expecting it to be super cool. First of all, it took me like 45 minutes to find parking. I don't know what else was happening downtown, but
Um,
I couldn't find anything. And at first I parked in a handicap street spot and I'm like, ooh, I didn't notice that and I had to
yeah.
move. But then I got so hot in the song and dance, like as I was talking to you at the merch table, I had to take off my hat. I'm like, I was dying,
Like,
but
what is this?
it was so hot down there.
Yeah. It was not when we first got there. I was cold because they had the doors open for us to load in. So it was like, oh,
I've been used to the cold. I work in a warehouse pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I work for a company, but I do the computer stuff for it, and I had to go out in the field. Like I go out in the field with our like evaluator. So we were in the field, but we're usually in buildings, right? Because we're doing testing, and the heat stopped working. When I tell you, it was like 30 degrees, and we're just like trying to test people, and I'm at the computer. I couldn't even type. So yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm not built for that. So bless you for your work in the
I
weather.
mean, it's not that cold in my warehouse. It's probably like it got as cold as like 57, but that's
No,
still pretty
no,
damn cold.
still no, no, no.
When it comes to winter weather, 57 is pretty cold, but a
Yeah,
57 in the spring is a lot different.
yeah. It's been like zero here.
Well, we got to be like halfway through winter by now, right?
Kinda. Yeah, so I think
Ish.
we got like 2 months left. I don't
We're
want to say
getting
that out
there. We're
loud.
getting there.
Yeah.
Chris, I still
Like,
have no snow on the ground here, Chris.
that must be nice.
We have a lot of snow.
Like the Syracuse spring, somebody told me that they were going to get their fence done in the spring. I was like, Syracuse spring is like April 15th to May 5th. So when in that 2 week period are you getting your fence put in?
Yeah,
But
and then
yeah,
sometimes it'll still snow.
Yeah, a couple years ago, it was like late May. I think it was during
Yeah,
COVID,
we
and
had
it
us.
snowed really hard.
Yeah, it was
I,
like right after COVID. It was for 2 weeks. It was like that storm, and then like everybody's power went out, and
yeah, I got a picture of my son out sitting in the patio furniture with snow piled on it in his bathing suit.
yep, that's
Yeah, it was a
that's
good
our
time.
that's our great.
So I'm just curious, talking more about music, who have been your biggest influences?
My biggest influences. I swear people probably watch my interviews and are like, this girl doesn't even know she's a liar, but it changes all the time. I will say, like the first time I heard screams, like Linkin Park.
Okay.
Not directly, but indirectly, I would say the screams like have influenced me, and like Flyleaf. Um, I really like never saw females in music, and like Flyleaf came out and I was like, this is so cool. Like, and she screams and it was cool. And then I would say Killswitch Engage. Um this is just vocally. And Hailstorm is another one. When they came out, it was really cool to see another, like, like, because I was young when those other bands came out. Like, I didn't have any idea of, like, being able to start my own band. I was just like, oh yeah, I was a kid. So, you're just like, oh, this is cool. And then, I saw Hailstorm, and I've seen other bands. And I think like, even now, I'll see bands that are new and I'm influenced by them. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and I like the way they sing or do certain things. So that influences me. I think that would be, and an old one. My mom always loved Pat Benatar.
Okay.
So vocally, I would say those are definitely my biggest influences. And I think I don't know if it's just me, but I usually tend to gravitate towards vocalists that I can emulate, and then that's how I get influenced by them, like, because those are the songs I used to try to like sing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Everyone's always like, oh, Paramore. Ironically, like, Paramore was not like, I listened to Paramore, but I was not a like, it's because I have red hair. They think everyone's always like, oh, you must love Paramore. I'm like, is that okay? I don't know. I don't know. I was like, no, they actually weren't. Like, I love Haley Williams. I think they're good, but that wasn't an influence for me.
Wasn't Haley Williams blonde at one time, anyways?
I think she was too, but I don't know. Everyone always was like, "Oh, it's because you have red hair." I'm like, I
That's
don't
all they
know.
remember, though, is her fiery red hair.
Yeah, I'm like, well, other people. Rihanna had red hair.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
Like, I don't know.
red-haired
A lot of people had red hair.
musicians.
Yeah, so those are some influences. It'll probably change, but those are the ones that stick out in my brain the most. That I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
I mean, you're gonna pick up new influences throughout the years. I mean, you're never gonna just
Yeah.
be influenced by one or two single artists.
No, and like I said, I'll discover, like, there's bands that are from like older bands that I'm discovering. I'm like, oh, they're really cool, and I'll start listening to them. But like Deftones, I discovered Deftones late. Like, I don't even know. It was like I really started heavily listening to them in like 2012 maybe. And to me, that's new. So it's kind of like when you discovered them also can influence things. So every year I pick a band that kind of like influences our albums, like for me vocally. So like I would say when we first started out, I was really into Hailstorm, and vocally I tried to like really do like the real high highs and try to make sure there was really high note in every song or whatever. And then now I just feel like I sing like myself. It's like it's weird how that happens. You're trying so hard and then finally you find your voice. It takes time, I think, though.
Yeah. So finding your voice. Now, does Dramascream have any new music coming out in 2025?
Yes, we went in the studio. We have music. Um, we're we're gonna do a video. We're just kind of trying to figure out what of the songs that we've done that we want to put out as a single. And we don't know if we want to do another EP or an album. Kind of, I don't know if it even matters anymore. I feel like people don't pay attention, like whatever you put out. So an EP would be fine, but also maybe we could do an album and do a bunch of singles. But yeah, we have new music. It is different. It's we've progressively gotten heavier, and it wasn't intentional, but we're starting to. I don't know if we're writing differently, but yeah, we definitely have new music, and it's definitely heavy and more like riffier.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's something fans will be looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping the fans like it. It's still us, but it's definitely heavy. Yeah, we had some people listen to it and they're like, "Oh wow." They're like, "Yeah, this is definitely heavy." But it's still like, melodic, but
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting heavier. It's when bands like to change like their whole sound
yeah, no.
that's when fans get all like crazy, like, what in the world is this?
Yeah. Well, and then we're also not at the point where people are going to be like, "Oh my God," like we're not that
Right.
like popular that people are going to be so mad at us if we change our sound. But like for the people that do listen to us, I think they will like it. It's
Yeah.
just us, but evolved. I say we've evolved, I guess.
How
Evolving's good.
has the creative process also evolved throughout the years? I know you said like the writing process you're not so sure about, but what about just how everyone comes together?
Yeah, well, so we this time our drummer has influenced Steve. So Steve always wrote every song, and he would do it by himself until we got Justin and Greg. Then they came in, and Greg would have riffs or whatever. But our drummer Justin has gotten more involved in writing with Steve. So I think that's why we are riffier now, because like he's got that, like Justin's got a really great sense of that rhythm and stuff. So I think it's really influenced Steve's writing. Um, so that's changed. And then we, instead of tracking our drums first, we used to always track drums first. Now we track drums last, because Justin feels like after I put my, like we have like a generic whatever down, but now once I sing, he's like, "Oh, I feel like I should add more accents where you sing." So that also made a difference, because he's like, "I would have done that differently if I knew you were going to sing that." And we never thought about it that way. So we decided to track differently for the album too. I still do what I always do. I'm This is gonna make no sense, but it might make sense to you if you're like me. So I'm a perfectionist, and if you give me the opportunity, I will rewrite the song like 37 times and I'll never finish it. So, and they always know, like going to the studio, so they're not nervous. I have nothing prepared when we go to the studio. I don't prepare anything. I don't do anything. I get up to the microphone and I just start writing whatever comes to my brain and what feels good when we're doing the song. And then I give myself a day and I solidify the lyrics, and then that's it. I'll have like an idea of a melody, but I won't start, because I will spiral if I if I'm given too much time. So yeah, it's probably a terrible way to be, but that's what I do.
I mean, I can be a perfectionist too. I've tried to do so many videos, random videos for the podcast, and I'm like, oh, wait, take number 20.
Yeah,
Then I'm
I
on to
that's
like take number 60.
yeah. So I was of that like that's me, and so for social media I would struggle to put videos up because I'm like, well, no, but this and that. So now I'm just like, okay, this is good, and they'll be like type, and I don't even look at it, and I have to just do it and get it out, because if I can get more chances, and I know I'll just keep trying to make it. I obsess over it, so I understand that. That's why
Yeah.
I do what I do now. Yeah.
I
Now,
try
would
I was gonna say I try not to be that way. I have to walk away from things so often because I'll do the same thing. I'll go through it over and over and over, and I'll refine it so much that I start going in the opposite direction.
Right. Yeah. That's why I don't. That's why I do what I do for the studio, because I've seen so many artists like, well, I take months, and I carefully nope, nope, can't do it, because I would nope, I'd drive myself insane. I wish
would
I was
take you
like that.
forever.
I'm so jealous of artists that can do that. I don't have that capability.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you could collaborate with anyone, Who would you want to collaborate? Like a dream collaboration.
Hmm. Oh, that's so hard. Okay, so I'll say the first thing that popped into my mind, oh, is Ice Nine Kills. I don't I so they're one of my they're a band that I love. Like my favorite bands are a little bit heavier than that, but as a band that I think we'd fit sonically and artistically with, Ice Nine Kills is definitely it just yeah. But also there is a band from where are they from? They have a female singer, Devil's Skin. They're from New Zealand. I think they're pretty cool. I think we would fit with them. Like if I did a song with them too, I think it'd be cool.
I've never heard of them. I'll have to
They're
check them
cool.
out.
They're cool. I love her voice. It's like really soulful. But yeah, I like them a lot. I would totally do a song with them. And if I could do anything with like a heavier band, it'd be Bleed from Within.
Okay.
Those would be my
Your three dream
yeah,
collaborations.
that would be really cool. That would be cool.
Is there anyone that you would like to write with?
Um, I would.
See, that'd be
So
tough, Chris. Remember? She likes to just go in the studio and just
I know. So
wing
if I
it.
would
I know,
write
that's why I
with
gotta
someone,
ask.
I like. So I really like Tool. I think that'd be cool because I like they're very methodical. I think like with their process. I think that'd be a cool band. Or Courtney from Spirit Box. She's also that way with her lyrics and like the thought she puts into things is really cool. Like I've watched a lot of interviews, and she'd be someone that would be really interesting to write with, or like her husband. I think the way they do things is it's very different from what we do, and I think that would be cool. Like so, right now though, that's who I'm thinking of. Also, Seether. I don't think Seether's put out a bad song. I mean, maybe there's like two that I don't like, but I've started heavily listening to them the past couple of years. I'm like, wow, this band is real. Like their albums are great. Even their new stuff is I really think they're great songwriters.
Yeah. Any plans to see anyone on tour? Because I think Seether and Spirit Box are going out on tour.
So I didn't know Seether was. I thought they were not going. I thought they were going over in Europe. So if
Oh,
they are,
maybe
I
it
will
was Europe
definitely
I
see
saw. I
them.
feel like I saw they were going out.
I want to see Spirit Box. I don't know where they're going this year, but yeah, there's someone I want to see. I am going to see Metallica because I've never like it's like a band I feel like you have to see. I'm gonna go see them. They're playing it in Syracuse. I don't know who they're with. I was told they're supposed to be with Ice Nine Kills, but I think we got tickets and it ended up not being Ice Nine Kills. So I'm a little sad about that because I want to see Ice Nine Kills.
I forget who it was with too. Now I gotta look it up.
But I'm going to that. I know for sure. I'm gonna go see Metallica because it's just like a bucket list band. I saw Bad Omens. I've seen. I'm trying to think if there's any bands that I'm like, I'd like to see Whitechapel. That's another band I'd really like to see.
I saw them a long time ago back in the day.
Yeah, I
Like a
started
long
getting
time
into
ago.
them
It was
like
probably like
3
in the
years ago.
early mid 2000s.
I didn't know they were around. I didn't know until I started listening to them that they've been around that long. Like, I was very surprised when I went because I started listening to the album Kin. That was the first I started. One of their songs popped up on just a random thing. I'm like, oh, these guys are good. And then I started getting into like everything else. And now they came out with that Visceral Wretch song. I'm like, okay, these guys are good. I actually started listening to them because on one of our videos, someone said that I looked like I was Phil Bozeman's sister. I'm like, who's that? And I was like, oh, who's this guy? And then I started listening to Whitechapel.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
I was looking. I think Seether is not on tour. I think I thought I saw them, but they're not on
Oh,
tour.
Electric Cowboy's another one. I
Yeah,
really want to see
they're getting big.
we wanted to see them, so we were supposed to see them a couple years ago, and everything just sold out, and we couldn't even get the tickets. I'm like, damn it. So yeah,
It
So it
happens that
says
way.
it says Metallica is playing Syracuse with Pantera and Suicidal Tendencies.
well, at least yeah, it's not really Pantera. Like that's my problem. I'm like, we'll see Pantera, but it's really not. But yeah, I guess that's cool. I don't really know any suicide. I don't know suicide. I know the name, but I think I probably know a suicidal tendency song. But it's more like, yeah, I saw Metallica. It's just one of those things.
Suicidal tendencies. I know there's a song they had. Didn't they have a Tony Hawk song?
They had the Tony Hawk
Yeah, yeah.
song. Yeah, that's how
Mm,
I got into them. And then I bought the CD, and then my sister was listening to it. She's like, "Oh, this is awesome," and she stole it from me.
mm.
Your sister's stealing things.
Yeah.
That's how it
Talking
goes.
about tours we want to go to. I still can't find anyone to go to Philly with me to go see Poppy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, none of my friends are really into it. So,
I think I think she's an artist that's evolved. I think her relationship with Bad Omens has helped that. I think whoever is in Bad Omens, that is, I think it's Noah who writes a lot of the creator. I think he heavily influenced her because you can hear it in all her new music. Like that was, I mean, that's all her songs. I'm like, that sounds like Bad Omens wrote it. Like that's not a bad thing. It's just you can definitely tell it's she's been influenced because her other stuff I never was really into her like her I couldn't get through past her voice, and now her voice seems mature, like she's singing more like full voice. I don't know, I maybe I didn't listen to her enough to know that before, but
have you ever watched an interview with her by any chance?
I just remember the videos where she'd be like, "Hi, I'm
Yeah,
Poppy." I'm like, I can't do this. I can't because I know it's like the character. Like I get it, we're character thing, but she just did it all the time. And I was like, no, I just can't do it. I can't. And I get that it was a whole thing, right? That was her thing, so that's cool. But for me, those high pitched voices like that, it's funny because like I'm just it's the opposite of what I think about. Like I when I hear people like, so I'm instant turn off for me.
it almost reminds me of this is going to be a throwback. Cat back when Ariana Grande played Cat in Victorious and Sam and Cat.
Oh,
Like,
yes. Okay, yeah, she had that very much like, and you're like, yeah, I couldn't. But that was her thing, so I get it. And there were people, she clearly, did something right. Not enough people liked that whole thing. I'm just too much of a genuine person to be able to like play that character. I think it works for some people because maybe she's very shy, so she has to play the character to, how some people have that different persona.
so you're
Hmm.
not going to adapt a character and go
No,
out on
I'm
stage in a nice
sorry.
high-pitched voice and
I'm sorry. No, you're never gonna. Hate to let you down. I am inspired by characters, but I am not.
Gonna play one.
Yeah, I'm sometimes, and sometimes it's like that's why like so people will always think I'm not very. I don't know what's the word. I don't want to say I'm not nice. I'm nice, but I'm not like always smiling. You know how people are just like, oh my gosh, hi, oh my gosh. Hi." I just always have that resting bitch face. And
Well,
so, and I
Chris
can't
has
help it. I
me
can't
Chris
like,
too.
so
has
people,
resting dad face, so
yeah, people
I
just think
do.
people always like, are like, oh, I heard the singer's mean. And I'm like, oh, based off what? And it's because I'm always like, because I'm always thinking, my brain's constantly like, I'm like OCD, like my brain's constantly like, what if I do this? So it always looks like I'm just like, but that's how I look. I don't know.
Yeah, at work, they've like given me like all the difficult trainings or serious ones to present to people. And they said it's because I have the face of a dad who's disappointed in his children.
It works though. See,
I was like, it's just my face, dude. Like,
I was born this way.
it's either resting or I'm laughing. There's never an in
Yeah,
between.
I get it from my dad. My mom's like always a smiley person. My dad's the type of person who like you can't tell if he's serious, and you're like, and he usually isn't.
Actually, my son tells me that all the time, my older son. He's like, I can never tell if you're being serious. I'll say,
Yeah.
I'm doing my job right then.
See? Yeah. That's how it goes.
So, what does the touring schedule look like for Dramascream this year? Or is it just going to be one-offs kind of thing going on?
We are we're gonna put stuff together, but we're kind of waiting on some other things. So ambiguous, but that's all I know. That's all I can kind of say it right now. We're waiting we're waiting to see if certain things come through, and if those things come through, then we're gonna go with that. But if they don't, then we will be planning, yeah, we're gonna plan like a couple runs and all that. I just don't know area wise. Like I think we've planned on at least hitting kind of like Midwest and stuff because we haven't been out there much. We're gonna do something like that, and we'll be doing a lot of like weekend runs. But yeah, we are gonna be actively playing as much as possible. I don't know in what form it's gonna look like yet.
That's a very vague answer for the start of announcing of Warp Tour bands.
Battle of the Bands. They're gonna do a Battle of the Bands for Warped Tour.
No, no, it's like
You
I
don't
don't
have to
know.
dive into it. It's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing a lot. I don't have dates, so if yeah, we are going to be playing. So keep
There's things in
an
the
eye out.
works,
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah. There's
Yeah, I get
Jeez.
it. What do you mean,
yeah,
geez?
He's
yeah.
digging.
We're not
He's
playing
digging
Warp
for
Tour.
more.
I don't know if there is a Warp Tour. I don't know, but
There is in DC and Long Island and Orlando. That's it.
really,
Long Island.
Oh, Long Beach. Long Beach, not Long Island.
I was like, wow, Long Island, go good for Long Island.
No Midwest one yet.
That's
Although there is,
surprising.
although Kevin Lyman did say that there might be something in the works. So,
I
might
get what he
be.
means. I get it. I get
See?
it.
So do you have any crazy stories from either being on the road or things that you've seen while you've been on stage that you can share? Add that tidbit.
Yeah, that I can share. Um, s- okay. I think I can share this one. It's kind of gross, but so we played a festival, um, and we don't go to do number twos in our RV, but we couldn't, once you went in, you couldn't go back out. The festival we were playing, like we could have, it was like kind of a walk from where we parked. So we were like, okay, we're gonna go to the festival at some point. Um, I have irritable bowel, and when I have to go to the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom. So I may or may not have had to go to the bathroom and dig a hole and go in the woods. But what I didn't know was my drummer was in a hammock sleeping, and I was like 20 feet from where he was sleeping. And I had to dig a hole and go in the woods, and then he got up, and I had to warn him that I went to the bathroom in the woods.
At least you warned him.
I did.
And they didn't like
I dug a
step in your
hole, and
hole.
I like, yeah, I dug a hole, and I covered it. And that is not the first time I've had to do something like that. So
I mean,
that's a story that I can tell.
legit shit happens, right?
For me, yeah, it does. They're all used to me by now. I'm like, guys, they're like, yeah, we know. Just, okay. Um, okay. So our drummer, our drummer, I can tell these stories. It's not with the band, but he has a really bad. Um, he's got bad luck with animals. So when he first joined the band, he was on his way. I don't know if it was to practice or whatever, but he had his window down, and his window was down, and an owl flew in his car and hit him in the head, and he had to like pull over. Ended up getting a concussion from the owl, like really bad, and he had to play a show with a concussion after the owl hit him in the head, and then his friend like punched the owl because the owl was in the car, but then like the owl flew out, so he got a concussion, and we were like, dude, you like what happened? What is with you? So then he like tried to avoid. The next year, he was avoiding a deer and hit a mailbox. And we had to miss a show because he was stuck in the snow and we couldn't get to it because him and our bass player were together. Then this year, he was on his motorcycle and he hit a goat and he killed the goat. and he trashed his motorcycle, and he ended up removing so much skin from the back of his Achilles that he had to get a skin graft, and he couldn't play with the band for like 3 months.
Yeah, that's some tough luck with animals. I
So
mean,
that's our drummer.
I've had a little bit
Yeah.
of run-in with some animals though.
hmm He
I
sounded a
hit a
lot like
deer
bad
once.
luck.
I hit a deer once and I hit a raccoon at 75 in my
hmm
car.
Um, we've had some interesting, like we had a show one time where we were playing, and we're very hesitant now if anybody says like, "Oh, you're gonna play this stock or festival," because it's a very loose term now. So we're like, "Oh, this will be cool." It was when we first started out. We're like, "Oh, this will be cool." And we showed up to this place, and there were people. It was like an anti-drug, like all the proceeds were going to people that were in like rehabs and stuff. And we're like, "Oh, this is a good thing." Then we show up, and people were inhaling like nitrous balloons, and there were drugs, and it was not good. And the power to the stage was being harnessed from like like an actual utility pole, so they were illegally getting the power. And we were like, okay, what do we do? Like, we have to play. We showed up, so we're trying to play, and as we're playing, my microphone is shocking me. Like, I couldn't hold my microphone with my hand. I had to put my sleeve over my microphone, and I couldn't touch my microphone to my mouth because it would zap me. And we had to play like that. And then the stage like started caving in, and we got done, and we were like, this is crazy. And then we were like, we're in the car getting ready to go, and all of a sudden this like 6-year-old, 5-year-old little girl comes up next to the car, pulls her pants down, and just starts peeing, but like not squatting. She's just peeing, and then pulls her pants up and runs through her pee puddle and keeps going. And I'm like, is this my life? What is happening?
That's ridiculous.
And we never returned to that festival. I don't know if it's
I
even
would hope
still.
not.
We just wanted to leave. We were like, is that a kid? What is going on? I'm like, that's a child just peeing in the open and running through their pee. Okay. So we left. That was an experience. We learned early on that you have to be careful. You have to research when people ask you to play. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a warning to all bands.
I
Yes.
hope I hope Pea Puddle Girl's in a good place now.
Yeah, it was. I was like, is someone gonna get that kid? Like, and so like I was the only, like I noticed it, and the guys were like, is that? Oh my god! And so we were all just like, what is happening? And she just ran, and I'm like, does someone have that child? And she got on like a tractor with someone, and we're just like, okay, all right.
Well, hopefully she's doing well, like Chris said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there was like random little kids with people, but it's just like, what do you do? Like we don't know anybody, and we're like, okay, well, like this is just we don't live this way, I guess.
Nope,
So,
I guess
well,
not.
yeah, so that was a good time. It was a good time. Good, great times. Yeah, those are some interesting stories that happen. That's what I can say out loud.
Some she can't share.
Yeah,
Those stay secret forever.
there's just yeah, people get a
We all
little
have those stories,
crazy.
though. We
Yeah,
all
they
have
get a
those
little
stories.
crazy. They get a little crazy.
So, who have been some of your favorite artists to share the stage with?
Um, hmm. So we did play an actual festival, and we played a festival that Butcher Babies was on, and they were actually very good. I had never listened to them as much, but they were a great show. They put on a really good show. Um, they actually sang, and I appreciated that. They didn't just have tracks; they actually sang their parts and whatever. They were really cool. We've the one of the most gracious musicians we've ever played with is Anita Strauss. We opened for her when she was on one of her tours, and she came up, and she probably doesn't know us now, right? She won't remember, but she came up and thanked us for playing and was extremely nice. And she didn't have to do that, right? Like she was just super cool, and so was her fiance at the time, now her husband, and their bass player like bought one of our shirts, and they were probably one of the most down to earth bands we've ever played with. So those are like we played with 10 years and stuff like that. We didn't really talk to them. Conquer Divide was really cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good ladies. They're good ladies.
Hmm. But yeah, I gotta say, Nita Strauss is a top-notch human being.
Hey, you never know. Maybe she still remembers you. You think she might not, but maybe she
I don't
does.
know. Yeah, she's just like a good person. I think she deserves everything she gets. She's awesome.
So what is the scene like down in Binghamton? Or do you find that you have to like travel more like upstate or even to PA?
Yeah, we pretty much do Syracuse, Rochester, PA. We there's a small scene in Binghamton. A lot of it is bar bands, like sorry, um, it's like cover bands. Um, there's a handful of original bands. There's a lot of like high school, like punk, hardcore. There's more of that at like the Legions and stuff. But for bands like us that are more like we require, like we need an actual sound system. Like we don't usually do like hardcore shows and stuff. Um, there's not a ton of places to play. There's maybe a few venues, and there's only a handful of bands that are, doing like active rock, I guess. I don't know. So it's not this is not a town. They've called it a dead zone for a very long time. Our area is considered a dead zone. We've
I
been
feel
told that by companies, so we're like, oh, cool.
I feel like Syracuse is getting to be that way too. A lot of stuff is like hitting Toronto or like Buffalo, and then it's going all the way out to Connecticut or Massachusetts. And like we're it's I don't know. It stinks because I think the
People,
only promoter is After Dark at this point.
I don't think people are going out to shows as much. I mean, I see a lot of tours selling out, but I don't know that they have that many dates so that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think there's a shift definitely happening. Um, like I said, I think I see things sell out, but I don't know if they're playing as many dates. I guess you'd have to compare it and see what's going on. There's just so much music. Also, there's now so much music, right? Too. Like I know Binghamton's a dead zone, but there's just so many bands, and some of them are strictly social media, but some of them, they play certain areas. But I don't know that people are. I don't know if I don't really know what's going on. If you figure it out, please tell me because we're trying to figure it out ourselves. We're like, so what is happening?
I mean, Milwaukee gets skipped a lot sometimes, but that's because Chicago is only 2 hours away and it's a
Right. So it's the
bit bigger
same.
of a city, so they go
That's
there
how we
instead.
are. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Which always sucks because it's like, oh, I would totally go to a show in the middle of the week if it was in Milwaukee, but I'm not driving 2 hours to
Right.
Chicago in traffic during the week
Right.
and then having to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
So, oh
That's
well, it's just how the cookie crumbles.
yeah, that's what's happening, I think. Like he was saying in Syracuse, I'm pretty sure it's a similar
Yeah.
situation.
I think that is why we get like shit on is because you got Buffalo 2 hours to the west, Albany 2 hours to the east, and it's just such a bigger
Hmm.
community.
The
Yep.
only thing we get around our area sometimes is like country bands. And people love it. Like line dancing, there's this place and it's packed for line dancing. I'm like, who knew? Not me.
I line
Love
danced in
it.
high school, but they made me for
Yeah,
gym
like
class.
I don't know. People love it. People just love to line dance, I guess.
I mean, technically, we all probably line dance at a wedding, when the electric slide comes on or the Cupid shuffle.
Yeah, but
You kind
I
of
mean, I
just
don't
have to.
actively seek it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some people do. Some people love country enough that they seek out the
Oh, a
line
lot of
dancing.
people do. They just, oof. Where we are, I would say predominantly people listen to country music.
Yeah.
There'll be people that talk with like almost a southern accent. I'm like, you're from, no, what are you doing? You're from Binghamton. Stop.
Sometimes Chris has a southern accent.
I lived in the South for 8 years, okay?
Oh. He's like, I did my time.
I
I
was
earned
in
this.
I was in Florida for 2 and then North Carolina for almost 6. So, yeah. It
My grandmother has lived in North Carolina for like, I don't even know how many years. She still has a heavy Brooklyn accent that is not rubbed off on her in the least bit.
What was really crazy was coming back to New York after living in the South for so long and then actually hearing the Syracuse accent that I swore didn't exist. Um,
What does it
it,
sound like?
I see that's the thing. You can't really describe it. It's like a Canadian accent meets a Bostonian accent, but only on
Okay,
certain vowels. So
I see that.
it's like O's for the most part. And like S's become Z's sometimes when they're next to the O. Like people from Syracuse will say house instead of house. Um,
Oh, okay.
there's a couple other words, but I hate it so much I don't even want to try. And no,
I was in North Carolina once and they thought I was from Canada. I'm like, why do you think I'm from Canada? They're like, because the way you talk. I said, really? So
You
it
must
probably
say
does.
A a lot, I guess. I
I
don't know.
don't. I did never. I am not a person that says that. Sometimes I'll have an upward inflection when I talk on accident. Like I'm like, oh really? So I think that would be like I think that's why. Like my friend has
Ah,
it too, and I'm like, oh, that might be why. But it's not constant. Constant. It's just
that's like the
sometimes.
yatter hey.
Yeah, it's just like a random. I don't know.
Chris, you do say y'all a lot.
y'all is a staple now. I don't. Y'all, yonder, and fixin' are staples in my
Vixen.
fixin'. Like you're fixing to go to the store.
Okay.
Yep. It just
All right.
stuck. That was the one I swore I would never pick up.
And
So
you love it so much that you kept it.
I love it so much now. Yeah, because my wife lived in Florida for a long time before we got together, and she
Mhm.
said fix, and I was like, that is so freaking stupid. And now here I am saying it.
Well, maybe
Um,
someday I'll get you to say bubbler.
no.
I've never heard that.
That's what we call a drinking fountain in Wisconsin, a bubbler.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right.
Because it's actually a brand. Like
Oh, I see
we
what
have
you're
a
saying.
company named Kohler and they named a drinking fountain the Bubbler.
I
So
can
that's
see
why we
that.
call it
I can get
Bubbler.
behind that. That makes sense.
But everyone always makes fun of us Wisconsinites for calling it a bubbler. But I make fun of people for calling it a water fountain.
I don't know what I.
It's a drinking fountain or a bubbler.
Yeah,
Water
I
fountain
think I
is in a
say drinking
park.
fountain.
You
Yeah.
know, it's one of those fountains in a park that you just watch and throw pennies
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. I say drinking fountain.
Well, that's good. I am so glad
Everyone.
you say it correctly.
All right. Good. I'm safe. Mark. I'm safe.
She's safe.
You
Safe.
know,
Safe.
you know what I just noticed, Jess? You don't have any lumps under your bed this time.
That's because I have my new bedspread on here. Gotta show off the new bedspread.
We were we were doing an interview a couple weeks ago, and it's looked like there was a dead body under there, and I'm like, Jess, what's going on?
You're like, talk to us. I've seen Dexter. What's happening?
I don't know, man. It's not my husband. He said he was gonna hide under there sometime though. Just hide under the blankets and then all of a sudden start moving and see if anyone notices on the camera.
That'd be
Be
pretty
like, oh,
cool.
that's just the ghost that lives in my bed.
Like, what are you talking about? There's no one there. There's nobody there.
Yeah, I probably would. Actually, that would be funny. Be like, what are you talking about? I didn't see nothing move.
Like on TikTok when like the wife or whatever will blend in with the surroundings and the husband's like, wait, what? And then those are pretty good.
Ah,
I really want to do the one where I know they've had the ones with like the wife on the floor, but also like the husband, where they're just laying there, and then all of a sudden, like the spouse comes around, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like yeah, I got to do that to Nikki. She'll murder me. Um, so anyway, I did see that you're passionate about animals and even rescuing. How did you get into that?
So I had so my first dog, I got off the streets. Like apparently these kids had her tied to a string and let her go, and my sister brought her in to the dance studio. It was when I was still dancing. I was a dancer since I was 3, whatever. Um, and my sister is like 23 years older than me. So my sister was like my mom. So this is a little background. So it's like, wait, why was your sister your dance teacher? Yeah, she's older than me. So my sister told me, and I was like, oh my God. And she would look like a Jack Russell. And I'm assuming she was at least part Jack Russell because she looked heavily like her Jack Russell. Because I wanted a Jack Russell forever. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to keep her. And I had to sneak her into my house. And my mom was working, and I snuck her in, and my mom's like, "Why's your door shut?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to bed." And she's like, "You never go to bed early. You have a boy in your room." I'm like, "No, no, 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 So she found the dog, she let me keep her. So Lucy was my first rescue, and I've always been a huge animal advocate. Like I donated to stuff. So I had Lucy, and then I rescued Cooper from North Carolina, and I had them, and they recently passed away like a year apart from each other. And once they passed away, they had consumed a lot of my time. And I'd always donated to shelters and I've always played animal benefits. But once they passed away, I was like heartbroken because Lucy was my dog that got me through like my first breakup and every single relationship I'd ever been in. Like that dog was there for me. That dog was the dog. I'm not even going to lie to you. That dog saved my life. So between her and Cooper, I was devastated and I was extremely depressed and I was like, I have to do something. So I said, I need to do something for them. And I'm like, what would they want me to do? And I said, okay, I'm going to go to the dog shelter and just donate my time. And so I went there and of course I cried and I still cry every time. But that's what actually got me into it was my dogs. I kind of did it in memory of my dogs because I wasn't ready to get another dog. And so as I went to the shelter, I would donate my time. I would bring them stuff like every weekend. And then um, this past year I got into it the most because that's when I started really going. And it turned out this one girl that who came to all our shows, she like liked Dramascream or whatever, so she was like a fan. But then we became friends because she ended up being she was working at the shelter. So she really helped me like navigate what I wanted to do and was really cool about like me like taking the dogs out and trying to get them adopted and stuff like that. So I had gone to her and I had said, who do you notice a difference when they are out? And it's really hard to take them out because I feel terrible putting them back in there because they're so happy. Um, but once I started doing it, it was like this like addicting feeling because once I did it, the dog I took out, I helped promote and whatever, and then we got that dog adopted. So like all the dogs that I've promoted or worked events with, I've gotten adopted, and I feel like in some way I'm like giving back, and my dogs that are my first dogs, like I consider my first dogs because I took care of them pretty much. I feel like I did it in their honor. So that's kind of really what got me into it was like trying to do something to have their little memories like live on. So I would do stuff and donate in their names or whatever. And then they had a dog that was one of the longest residents. And she was insane. I'm like, oh, why is she the longest resident? Well, I brought her home and found out why. She was nuts. And of course, she's mine now. I adopted her because nobody wanted her. So I have that dog. Went to a lot of training, lots of training. Smart dog, great dog. But once I took her in, I just started doing it for more dogs, and now I'm just kind of that's like my thing. It sucks though. I cry every time. I have a dog right now named Brownie that I would like to get adopted. He's been my longest case, because usually it's about a month and I can get him adopted, and it's been like 2 months, and I don't know what's going on. He needs to be adopted though because it breaks my heart. So yeah, that's why I do it. I'm a huge animal advocate. I cry about everything. Um, so I guess my animals passing is what got me really into it.
Yeah, we actually just saw another dog tonight. We're trying to adopt another one.
Oh really?
Yeah, we have um, a Belgian Malinois mutt, but primarily Belgian
Okay, so
Malinois.
you know what it's like to have.
To have a psycho, yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
and she really needs another dog to play with. We're still in touch with the woman that fostered her and her brother.
Hmm.
So her brother was adopted out twice and came back to the foster.
Oh.
And they were like, that's it, we're keeping him. They're like, we're not going to try this anymore. So the foster kept him. So we're still in touch. The dogs get together and play.
Okay.
She lives like right on the river. And if we go and we're like, hey, you want to go see your brother? And we'll go, Millie will get out of the car and make a beeline for the river and jump right in.
Uh,
But like her and her brother get along great. And I'm like, you really need another dog. Like I feel bad for
and she
her
likes
not
other
having
dogs and stuff.
when she's not being a psycho, yeah. When she finally calms down.
That's how
Uh,
ours is. So Moxie is a what are you, Moxie? She's a she kind of has Malinois ears, but we don't know. She's got really big ears, so she could be Dane. She could be, I'm sorry, Shepherd, but she kind of has a Dane, like that. Her side profile is Dane, but she's definitely pit bull. Like most of the dogs at our shelter are pitty mixes. So she's some sort of mix, but she's nuts. Like she's nuts, and she's selective with other dogs because the trainer was telling us she can make friends with other dogs, but if another dog is more hyper than her, she wants nothing to do with them. She's like, get away from me. I need to be I need to be the dog that hypes everybody up. So I want to get her. I want to get another dog, but just with the band right now and what's going, like, we don't know what's going on. Right now, it's easy. I can bring her to board her, and I can afford that. But if I get two, I'm afraid I don't know that I could afford to do that. Like, so it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
more of a financial kind of, and I don't want to be just like she's good. She loves her trainer. I do eventually
There
want
she
to. Oh
is.
my gosh! Hi, Millie. Oh my gosh, she's cute.
She's like, "What am I doing on camera, Dad?"
Yeah, she's like, what is this business?
Oh, you're gonna actually sit on my lap? You're a little tall for
Aw.
that, but okay.
Nah, she's a lap dog. All big dogs think they're lap dogs.
Yeah, Moxie does too. She's yeah, she needs another dog to play with. She was going to daycare, but then they stopped doing daycare because they didn't have enough people to help. So she's been a little crazy. She gets like the zoomies where with like she will jump over the couch. So they said they're gonna start agility, and that's what she needs. She would be the perfect agility dog. Yeah, she's nuts. Love
Well,
her. Love her. And I was like, oh, I don't know why anybody didn't want you. And then we get her and she's like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably why. So of course I kept her.
unfortunately, I can't have a dog right now. So
Oh, that's tough. I get it.
had one growing
Yeah.
up. 15 and a half years I had that dog.
Wow.
Since I was 5.
Oh,
So
You're-
that was my dog growing up. My dad has
mm,
dogs, but it's not the same.
mm-mm.
No. Hopefully Millie changes my luck with dogs. Mine have all passed away early.
Really?
Yeah, so my family dog that we had when I lived with my parents, she only lived to be 7. She had like crazy, crazy cancer. Like started losing weight and like bloody stool everywhere.
That's what happened to my Cooper, my Husky Lab. He was like 12. And they were like, he's good. And then one day it just,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had um she was a black lab Rottie mix,
mm,
and she had some sort of undiagnosed heart thing, and she was
oh,
only 4.
oh my God.
Like I was at work, my mom took her for a walk and she died on the walk. Like just fell over, died.
That's not
Oh
cool.
man. No, that's
Oh,
awful.
no. My mom still feels bad about it.
I mean, there's nothing your mom could have
Right,
done.
like that's
She didn't cause it if the dog already
she
had
wasn't
a
alone.
heart condition
Yeah.
that she didn't
Right.
even know about.
None of us knew about.
Well, just tell your
So,
mom we say it's not her fault.
Yeah. It's definitely not.
Well, Chris, way to bring the house down.
oh, I'm sorry. But Millie's a happy, fun dog and she has so
Yeah,
much
see?
energy.
Yeah,
No,
see,
she
there you
could
go.
actually take agility too. Like she'll jump so high to grab. Like if I, for some reason, if I'm like playing with a stick with her outside, when
Hmm.
she tries to get it, she doesn't go for the end of the stick. She goes for where my hand is holding it.
That's what they all do. All dogs do that. For some reason, they have to grab closest to your hand. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
why.
Oh yeah. That's yeah.
They're like, it's the closest to getting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No.
But no, so we are looking for another dog, but a smaller one.
Yeah.
Like more like medium size, not
That's what I want if I like I would love to take Brownie in, but like I said, we can't. And Moxie, like I said, she's selective, so I have to just make sure she's a
Well, that's
wicked
what
alpha.
that's what Chris was telling me. He went and saw this dog and they said that she doesn't get along with other female dogs. And I'm like, or does she just not get along with certain female dogs, you know?
Yeah, it depends. Moxie got along with a female, and then the female went after Moxie. So now we're like, okay, well, Moxie fought back, but I don't know that it was necessarily Moxie.
You just never know.
Yeah.
Well, we have one final question for you.
Okay, I'm ready. I think.
It's the most important question we ask everyone.
Okay.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Though, okay, it's that one. Can I look it up? I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called. It's so cute. Hold on. What was it? What was she? Here we go. Saurolophus? What? What? Saurolophus. It's Ducky from A Land Before Time.
Ah, Ducky from The Land Before Time. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that's
funny,
what it
Chris.
says.
Isn't it funny how like a lot of people just tune right into like The Land Before Time? Who didn't watch that as a kid?
I remember seeing it on TV, and I just remember Ducky. And then what else? There was another movie. I don't know, but I do not mind a little Stegosaurus either.
Yeah.
But Ducky had my heart.
I mean, who didn't have a thing for Ducky? Because yep, yep, yep.
Yes, yeah. And Ice Age. So Ice Age was like probably my biggest. The squirrel's my favorite from Ice Age.
Scrat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scrat's a psycho squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
There's another movie that has a psycho squirrel in it. It's called Over the Hedge.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah,
got
yeah.
Hammy the squirrel. We call my boss at work Hammy because he's pretty much like Hammy and he drinks like Mountain Dew all the time. And you're just like, oh man, give Hammy some freaking caffeine and look at him go. And he's kind of crazy like that. He's like never stops.
I can relate.
I can relate sometimes. Like I have Hammy moments, like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
cookie.
Yeah, I'm always like, duh. So did I
Yeah.
pass the test?
I mean, it wasn't a test.
Oh, okay. I thought if I named like one, you're like, like if I said T-Rex, you'd be like, of
I mean, we
course.
do get a lot of T-Rexes and
Do you? So that's not
Velociraptors or
my
pterodactyls. It seems like we're getting a lot of pterodactyls.
Terry's. No, I don't. I don't know. I'm a pretty basic. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of basic. I'm Brachiosaurus.
Okay. All right. All right. We have a friend, um, who's has like a kid and he's obsessed with dinosaurs. So he's always telling us dinosaur names, and I'm like, solid.
I know. Me and Chris have this conversation all the time. Like when we ask this question, I'm like, I really need to research a better dinosaur, like a dinosaur no one's ever heard of.
Well, that one I couldn't even pronounce.
I mean, dinosaur names are very hard to pronounce.
I
I
was like,
think it's
Cyril.
I think it's Sorliphus.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
good.
yeah. So there's one in a video game that my younger son watches like people play. It looks like a giant chicken with really long claws, and I forget what it's called. It begins with a TH.
It's not a feathered
Um,
raptor.
no, it kind of looks like a feathered raptor, but it looks way crazier.
Let's see the craziest types.
Now we're gonna look
IMDb.
up the craziest dinosaurs
There
ever.
is Xenosaurus.
Diplodocus. What is that? Whoa. Is that what you said? That one? I
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
really
there is an
long,
Osaurus. There is an Osaurus. Yeah, yeah. What
almost
about this
almost
one?
Freddy Kruegery.
Argentinosaurus. Yes, that one's pretty cool looking.
She's gonna keep looking through these dinosaurs and find one she likes better now. She's gonna be like, no, change my
Plate,
answer.
Plateosaurus, Dinosaurus? Dinosaurus, maybe that's how that is? I don't even know. What is this? Not, wait, Nyasasaurus? What? Nyasasaurus? I don't really know what that is. Nyasasarus. I don't know.
I
Have
guess
you heard of
Google
these?
needs to translate these for us.
There is a
Wow.
speak. I think on some of them there is like a speak or like a
Yeah. I
pronunciation.
wonder how well the AI would actually know how to say dinosaur names.
I bet Wikipedia would not. I'm kidding.
By the way, I did. This probably wasn't the best time for me to use it. But during the show was this Saturday? What the hell is today?
Yeah, it was
Yes.
Saturday.
Um, you mentioned a baby unicorn is called a sparkle.
Yes.
I used that in an interview in an interview for somebody interviewing with our company. I said, what's I at one of the things that I ask is like, what's the most random thing that you know? Just to try and
Okay.
get them to open up. And
Yep.
I'm in like I was like, for instance, for me, I just learned that a baby unicorn is called a sparkle. The guy did not know how to react to this.
Well, they are. I think that's great. Someone looked up and they're like, "Do you know what a baby unicorn is?" I'm like, "Cute." They're like, "No, it's called a sparkle." I was like, "What? This is amazing." Oh, I have all things. Oh, this is here. Wait, this is my favorite dinosaur.
There you go.
Yes.
You like that?
Does it make noise?
Oh yeah, it does. Hold on, I can turn it. Look at, and I got one of these. My entire being is a unicorn.
Oh, look at that.
It's
It's
terrifying.
possessed unicorn.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I have so many. Oh, I have one of these. Here, you can. This is what you can find out about me if you ever want to learn
She
more.
loves unicorns, Chris.
Yep. My existence. Oh no, she fell off her platform. Yeah. So yeah, I love unicorns.
So is that where the merch design came from?
Yeah.
Your undying love for
Oh
unicorns.
yeah, I didn't. Steve designed that. I said I want a unicorn, and I don't even know if we like, because of course a farting unicorn. Who doesn't want that? So that's was great. And then we had the little farts. There was a time during COVID when we couldn't play, and every time someone would tip us when we were live, a unicorn would come on the screen and go. So it was like tip us, make the unicorn fart. So it was a great gimmick.
You should make a kid's shirt with a baby unicorn, a baby sparkle
A
unicorn.
sparkle, right? Yeah, I know. It's up here right now. Don't worry, we're on it. I got another unicorn over
They're
there.
on it. There's gonna be
Yeah,
a
we're on it.
sparkle
We're on it.
somewhere.
Next time I talk to y'all, I will. I'll be fixing to get a unicorn, a baby sparkle. Yeah, you
She'll
like
be
that?
fixing.
Yeah,
Picking up quickly.
I am. I'm on it.
Well, that was our last question, the dinosaur question. And then we got
Okay.
into a rant about unicorns. And
Yeah. So see, done.
I mean, there is no, you know, unicorns could have been real back in the
Nobody
day.
knows. They could be extinct.
They
I
might
mean,
be.
rhinoceros. They have. They're kind of.
You never know.
I'm just saying. Don't knock it. You don't know. You don't know. I just keep telling myself.
Is there anything you'd like to share with fans or anyone listening?
Um, no, just thank you. That's all I want to say for listening to us and supporting us and keep doing it because we appreciate it.